Hey, everybody, welcome to Morning Coffee. It is February 8th, and we've got a kind of a normal week planned this week. Saturday's article, if you did not catch it this past Saturday, was about why you should play games with your kids. So I was trying to think of the title there. Sorry. I don't script this out. It's not like a planned thing. It's just kind of me just talking off the cuff. So if I kind of stumble or I pause, it's not made no attempt at trying to make you think this is like a professional quality video for this channel anyway. So apologize for that, but yeah, it's part of. I'm kind of trying to put together an infographic that has some kind of like big, more generalized tips that I can kind of offer out to people as part of set, maybe even give it out as like a freebie for people signing up for the newsletter. And so I'm trying to work on kind of deeper level things that could be just one-liners on there. And one of them is play games with your kids. Specifically video games is what the article talks about. And so cover a lot of things in there. I think there's a lot of value in it. I didn't put this in the article, but we have some friends in Texas that we were eating dinner with them one time, and they told me they would just sit and hang out with their high school son while he would sit and play like Xbox. And he was playing, he was playing like teen and kind of more in-depth, really story-driven games. And they were like, yeah, we'll just sit like on the corner of the bed in his room and just like watch him play, and just kind of talk to him, as he talks about stuff. And not for a whole, not like for, a ton of time, maybe like 20, 30 minutes or so. And they'll kind of leave and let him do his thing. But it just kind of stuck out to me. I'm like, man, that's really interesting, because I feel like that's not common. Maybe it is, and I just don't realize it. But I know most of the time, once I kind of got to a certain age, when I went in my room and was playing games or playing with my brother or something like that, my parents didn't really hang out in there a whole lot. And I don't think it was because it was like an intentional decision. They probably just thought that we just didn't want them in there bothering us while we were playing. But I don't know. There's just something about it that means something. And there's probably something to be said too. If there's got to be some give and take, right? So you don't want to always just have your kid or your family member or something like that think that like you can just do whatever you want and they're just going to come hang out with you on your terms, on your ground all the time, right? Because that's not fair, and that's not a give and take relationship. So obviously they're going to have boundaries, and they're going to have more boundaries the younger they are, right? Because you're smaller kids, like they get X amount of time to play and then they're done, and then you have a pretty firm agenda for them the rest of the day of what they're going to do. And then as they get older, that kind of loosens up with most families, as they start managing their own time more, and kind of get to the point where, hey, we're trying to teach them to make decisions. As long as they get X, Y, and Z knocked out, then they can kind of do what they want with the rest of their time. And everyone kind of lands on different sides of those decisions. But anyway, I just think it's an interesting concept, and I think there's hidden value in it. There's not just it's not just what I mentioned in the article about being able to see what's going on while they're playing, because that is really valuable. Because it's weird sometimes, like just the things that and not to like scare you, like most games are not even, like some games are really bad and no one should ever play them. And I won't talk about those or do a review on those because there's no point. But most are not like trying to like brainwash your kids, but there is stuff that now is just so mainstream and accepted as like it's okay. You can think of like political. I don't want to get super political in this thing yet, although I might in the future. But you can think about some of the topics that are really prevalent right now with our culture and what's being trying to be pushed into the norm and into mainstream society. And it's stuff that like when I was growing up as a kid, like didn't come up as a topic of conversation. And now some of those things are, and you know what I'm talking about, are everywhere. And so, it's not uncommon to have stuff like that stuck into a game, and it might not get dinged on a rating for it because it might not be something where there's um, like you can have content that doesn't cross the language, violence, sex guidelines and still get like an everything 10 plus, or even a teen rating, and but still be content that, like, if it popped up, you're like, whoa, I need to make sure that, like, number one, does my kid even notice it, or is it just over their heads and they don't catch it, which is you have to make the decision, like, if you want to just let that slide or if you want to call it out and address it so that you can have the opportunity to talk about it. But the stuff they do catch, you for sure want to be able to say, hey, I just want to talk to you, like, this is what our family thinks about this and this is why. So, and I don't think that's a good reason. I mean, for like the 0.5% chance that happens, for all the hours of like content that they may come across, I don't think it's worth just saying we're gonna just live in a hole, and like you're not gonna have a phone and you're not gonna have like any kind of like Game Boy, iPad, fill in the blank, computer, whatever, until you're 30. I don't think it's like worth going to that extreme, personally. But I think it's good just to know, like, that the conversations are there and they can be had. So anyway, something to think about. I'd love to hear more thoughts if you guys have thoughts on that topic of getting more involved, more interactive with your kids' experiences through games. Feel free to leave it in the comments here in this video. You can leave it in the article. You can leave it on Facebook. You can leave it on Twitter. You can just tweet me, either at SafeEasyTech or at Ryan D Music, I think, is my personal Twitter. So, yeah, I'd love to hear what you think. This week is another week where I don't really know. So like last week, I didn't really know what I was going to do. We ended up doing the gaming article. This week, I still don't really know what I'm going to do, but there'll be something. I am going to try to do a free game Friday video to come out on this Friday. So I'm going to look through Steam and see. That's not really a set thing. That's just kind of something I just like doing. And there's been some popular ones in the past. So I'm trying to kind of capitalize on that momentum. But outside of that, that's all I got. So if you have any thoughts about anything, I'd love to hear them. Please post in the comments. If you like the way these are going and you like just kind of the informal chit chat from me, then feel free to like and subscribe. If you don't like it, you can give it a thumbs down. That's what the button's there for. Put something in the comments about what you would like to see. I want this to be like interesting for people, or at least entertaining. So if there's something you don't like about this one, but you'd like to see going forward, put it in the comments, let me know, and I'll fix it. So that's all I've got for today. I'll see you guys next week.